All right, so we are here once again with our friends from Plasma Energy Solution, Lynn and Stephanie. And Lynn and Stephanie, as always, it's great to see you. Lynn, how are you doing today?
Sean, I'm doing great. Spring is on the way, but that it'll get here after the what was it? 6 feet of snow
Five
leaf.
5 feet of snow in a week.
Yeah.
In
After
a
that,
week.
yeah. The
That's amazing.
daffodils are having trouble coming through.
Yeah, right. And Steph, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's very nice to see you, and we're just battling our way through spring, but warm weather is on the way, so it's one day at a time.
5 feet of snow in spring, right? That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
But you know what the beauty of it is that Montana's such a beautiful place that once that snow melts, there's going to be a lot of green, a lot of flowers, a lot of stuff sprouting up from all that. So that's the benefit that you'll have coming here very shortly.
that is true. And
So
hopefully no fires.
Right.
that's right. Hopefully no fires. But you know what? It's good to get all that moisture in the soil and get all that going so everything's nice and green
Yeah.
and reduce the risk of all that too, right?
Hmm.
Right.
So
Well,
some really go ahead.
well, Sean, while we're talking about bad weather, when you're ready, I'll share an incident about some of the plasma energy and somebody who was dealing with their version of bad weather.
Let's do that now because, that's one of the things we've talked about. But every time we get together, we always have more stories explaining how this plasma energy creates a plasma energy field around a property that in many cases has shown to protect it from any type of damage from the elements. And so the fact that you've got a new story is actually pretty exciting. So go ahead and let's start off with that.
Okay, well, we had a plasma energy man in Texas who used to hold a weekly phone call with people that you had for other products along with the plasma energy. And so what happened is somebody called him from Mississippi and they said, it is so hot here. And the man did not have air conditioning. And so what Tommy Lee did was he soaked a bunch of paper like this with plasma energy and he mailed it to the man.
Just the station water.
Yeah, with the
Right.
station water.
Mhm.
And he sprayed it and let it dry. And then he mailed it like a letter with several sheets. And he told the man, now you take these sheets and you tape them up in each window of your house. And so the man reported back in a few weeks and said, ever since he had put that up, his house had been 72 degrees inside. And one of the things that we have to emphasize here is intention. And the plasma
Mhm.
energy water carries memory, it carries intention. Well, Tommy Lee's intention went in to help the man. Then, the man put his own intention in. But then what happened later in the summer is he called Tommy Lee again and he said, well, we just had this big hurricane that came through and he was in Mississippi. And I think it was around the time of Hurricane Irma. And
Mhm.
he said every house in his neighborhood was flattened, gone. And he said his house was still intact. The water came up to the top step, but never came in the house. His house was still
Wow.
standing.
Mhm.
And that was pretty awesome. And again, it's when we're putting intention in, what do I want this to do with my energy and the energies around me?
Mhm.
It may be a little way out there for people, but it's all energy, Sean.
Right. It is. And, I brought this up on many occasions, but one of my favorite channels on YouTube is Dan Winter. And Dan is a physicist and he's very familiar with plasma energy, how it works. And, literally you could break it down. Dan would be able to break it down 100% into physics, including the intention, which is basically a plasma tornado, which is created within your mind which interacts with the other plasma energy fields. But it really is, there really is science behind it. It's a little bit over my head, but I know Dan, because he talks about it a lot, really understands it and could sit down on a chalkboard and actually break it down. But when you're talking about plasma energy and plasma energy fields, it really is based 100% on science. So there is a lot that's actually that goes into it, but it's such a fascinating subject. And, for us that never really were brought up with this type of information or this knowledge, when you're first hearing it and you've never heard it before, it does take a little time to sort of wrap your head around it. But as you get more acclimated to it and you start understanding more about how it works, it actually makes perfect sense.
Exactly. And
It does. And just to interject, my husband plays on the senior softball tour. So he's all over the country playing softball. And he decided to put the Plasma Energy Solution logo on their softball jerseys this year. And he's going to, I said, well, how are you going to explain it to these guys? And he said, I have a good reputation. I know it works. So I'm going to take spray bottles and I'm just going to spray them down.
Nice.
And then they'll
Perfect.
understand.
Exactly. They'll all get it firsthand.
Yeah.
And he's not even going to charge them. He's going to do it for free.
Right. Right. So it's interesting. It's an interesting way to get the word out. And so we'll see what happens with that.
I have a picture of the softball team all lined up, and he's going down spraying everybody, and all the participants and people watching are going, what are they doing?
Yeah, exactly. Wow. That's exciting. That's really exciting. So we've got a lot of good stuff going on. I know that you've got some specials that you're doing. I know we've got some special stuff that we've got that's coming up. So do you want to go into some of our April specials and some of the things that we're doing this month for our plasma energy solution?
Okay. And what we're focusing on this month, April was Dr. Paul's birthday month. So we said, well, what shall we do this month? And for those who want to read the blog, we're using Soul Support, and I spelled it SOLE, like the sole of your foot, but what it's really there to do is SOUL. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and to me, this is a time that I think a lot of us could use a little soul support with the things that are going on around us. So we've got 3 specials on our website this month for April. And one of them is our soul support by itself, and they can save $60. So the savings price would be $237. And Steph, do you want to kind of share what some of the things are?
Soul support one here.
Oh, I don't?
No.
Oh,
Nope.
oh, you're right.
We do for the other ones.
We do for the other ones. So basically there are a lot of ingredients in it that are going to be supportive more to the soul and the emotions for all of us.
Like for anxiety and stress and all of those kinds of things as well.
Exactly. So then a second special we have would be to combine soul support with one of the pendants. And it would be a savings of $77. Yep, Sean's got his pendant. We all have our pendants. And so it would be a total of $287. And soul support by itself is $297. So I'm just putting that out there so people understand the savings. And then the third one would be soul support plus the plasma energy station. And that would have a savings of $157 because it would normally be $634 for the 2, and it would be $477 with the savings. So those are some of the things we're doing for our April special. And
that's exciting. That's very exciting. Lynn, I was just going to say, when it comes to soul support, that ties back into plasma energy because our soul, our aura, that's all plasma energy. And I just watched another video with Dan yesterday, and he was talking about how the goal is to build out your aura. And as your aura is built out and it becomes stronger, it really ties you into more of your natural abilities for doing things like manifestation,
Mhm.
lucid dreaming, all different kinds of things that come from soul, or the aura and the soul, which is once again plasma energy. And the thing that's actually, I don't want to say scary, but something that people need to take a look at is how you can get holes in the aura. And he calls it astral hygiene. But basically, there's a lot of things that you could do, including drinking excessively, um, smoking, smoking marijuana. There's certain things that you can do that are going to be detrimental to that and will actually put holes in your aura. And when that happens, um, they call them astral parasites, but I guess another way of calling it is ghosts. But you're susceptible to getting picked up by what we would call astral parasites when you have holes in your aura. And another thing that's causing a lot of problems, and I'm not sure he tied this in, I don't know how much it came directly into your aura, but is the GMO foods, and explaining how DNA is actually living in plants. And so when you're eating foods where the DNA has been altered, or it's what we would call bad DNA, that also is breaking you down. And it's very difficult nowadays to figure out where that's at and where it's coming from. But I think we all have a pretty good idea to know that it's pretty much everywhere. In
Yeah.
fact, one thing that I will say, that was another point that he made, is that there's a lot of people running around saying, oh, I've got a gluten intolerance, gluten, I'm all messed up from gluten. And Dan said, no, it's actually 90% of those people are actually being poisoned by glyphosate, which is a pesticide or something that they're actually spraying all over the wheat. And the symptoms that they're getting are actually from the pesticides that are being used, although it's being interpreted as gluten allergies. So that soul support is actually very important for a lot of different reasons. And the soul itself, as we get to understand it more, is your actual energy field that you're carrying that goes around you. And building that aura, keeping that powerful, is what helps you maintain good health. So that soul support is a very beneficial package.
Exactly. And, I was reading some information on biofield tuning and the
We were
biofield.
just talking about this before this call, so
Yeah.
it's interesting
Nice.
that it came up.
It is.
Mhm.
It's and your biofield is that energy field that you're talking about around us. And Eileen McCusick has done a lot with biofield tuning. And what she was talking about is there are certain medications that also cause that the holes in the aura. And so she was relating how the frequencies in the biofield tuning are assisting people with chunks of problems in their aura.
Mhm.
And can the frequencies with several sessions may help to mitigate some of that. And so, when we look at the plasma energy, we're also looking at the frequencies created with the energies from the plasma energy combinations. So yeah.
Sorry, it can help mitigate some of the damage and holes that were put there by the
Yeah.
yeah.
That
You
thing.
know, it's in, yeah, it's interesting. Dan said that one of the things that was doing, that he noticed, it was basically knocking the soul out of the body.
Yes,
Yes.
it's awful.
I
I
mean, I
remember early on that somebody in France who did energy work with people wrote something that came out, and this healer was really upset and said, the first time I saw it, I wasn't sure what I was seeing, but then I started seeing it more and more, and it's like the soul had lost the DNA that it was connected to, and so it was kind of drifting around looking for its DNA person, and it was gone. And so the individual had disconnected from the soul, and so both of them were lost in that sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that our DNA is our God-given everything, and they're trying to disconnect it.
Right. And you know what's interesting is those plasma energy fields actually connect with your DNA. So they're actually mindful, intelligent energy fields.
Yes.
I just, there's two things. First off, like with every call, I always want to just give a brief explanation. If anybody's watching this for the first time, we've got an ongoing series. I think this is like, I don't know, 8th, 9th call maybe, but maybe more. But plasma energy water is a process where the water itself is infused with this energy, this plasma energy. And once it's done through this process, it retains that plasma energy for the rest of our lives. And you buy these little vials, and these little vials will go onto the side of a glass container or a clear plastic container, anything that's clear. It'll transmit that plasma energy. And Steph, you're going to show us. It'll transmit that plasma energy
Yep.
into, oh, you've got it inside the bottle. That's
This
even
is the
better.
Soul Support spray bottle.
Soul Support, right. So then you can
Yep.
spray that. So you can spray it on your clothes, you can spray it on your living room, your bed, your sheets, put it in your, bring it all around the house, use it on plants. Obviously, we drink it as humans, but I can put on my clothing, everything. It'll maintain, it'll keep that plasma energy. So this is one of my favorite products because everybody says, what do I need? What do I need? For all these different health issues. And technically, theoretically, there's quite a few things that might be of benefit, but ultimately, my process and thought process is always layering technology. And so you have to get to some really core basic things. And the first thing is obviously water. And I always put products in the things that have the greatest value for the least amount of money, because I don't always know who I'm dealing with financially, what they can afford. But plasma water and plasma energy water is always at the top of the list because it's a one-time purchase. We're talking in this case here, honestly, it goes from $100, $150 to some of these stations where you have all these energies, all these different vials for, $350, $400, right in that price range. And that's the last time you're ever going to buy it the rest of your life. And then you've got guys like the gentleman you were talking about earlier that just wants to help people. And once your little energy station is charged, you can create your own vials. There's so much good you can do because you can pass it off and give it to other people. So once again, for anybody out there that's watching this for the first time, plasma energy water, you want to be drinking this on a daily basis. You want this in your surroundings. And we get into all different kinds of stuff on our calls about how it enhances plant growth. I mean, our flowers last 3 or 4 times longer because they're in plasma energy water. You can put it in vials, put it in your garden. You can create energy fields around the house like what we were just talking about, that will deter and basically move storms and other things around you, because that is also plasma energy. So just with that being said, if you're catching this for the first call and you're wondering what is plasma energy, what are we talking about? That's what we're talking about. These little vials. You get them at plasmaenergysolution.com. And as always, I'll have it up above here or down there to show you where to go. But with that being said, you can go back into our playlist too. We've got probably, like I said, at least 8 to 10 videos. We get into all different subjects, all kinds of testimonials, all different kinds of ways to use it. This is our April 2023 call. So this is more updates on what we're doing, specials and things that are relevant for time, place, and circumstance. But I just want to throw that in there. But I did want to circle back on the last thing we were talking about, which is how how that's knocking people's soul really literally out of their body. I mean, I know this is, I don't want to make light of this because it's a very serious subject. It is. But I do give credit to the dark side, the Darth Vader forces, because in this time that we're in, which is light versus dark, you've got to give credit to these people that they are really, if you're watching this on TV and it's like a TV show, you got to say these people are very good at what they do. They do not roll this stuff out and do this without a lot of thought, consideration. And initially, everybody's thinking it's happening on a physical level, and there's certainly things going on at that level as well, and we've addressed a lot of that. But these people are good; they're really good at what they do. I mean, when they're putting this stuff out there and they're doing these things, they are, they're very sophisticated, they're very intelligent, and they're obviously very advanced with a lot of the technology. But I think it's important for people to look at the situations that you're in. You might not personally be dealing with that, but I guarantee there's everybody that's watching this knows people that are. There's a lot of people in my family are dealing with that. A lot of people I know are dealing with that. One of my good friends that I would have never thought in 100 years would have had that done, got that done, and he's really having problems right now. So when we get into soul support and we're talking about soul support as a special, you have to understand that this goes way deeper on many different levels on how it's going to benefit you. When your aura is getting messed up, when that's all messed up, your physical body starts breaking down. You get into the astral parasites. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, and too much probably for us to go into detail. But trust me, when we start talking about this stuff and we're bringing it up, this is stuff that you definitely want to get into your daily routine. And for people like me, and I know Lynn and you and Steph being ones that actually are creating these, if you have 2 or 3 of these plasma energy solution vials, you can keep adding more. Like I've got 6 or 7 now. So and after watching this video, I'm going to have to get soul support now because it's putting focus on it. It's helping me think, you know what, I do need that. I have Superman. I've got Heavenly Thunderbolt, clear mouth, clear mind. I got all kinds of these, but a whole nother set of energies, a whole nother, set of benefits that's going to go with that. And it's just another vial, that you can tape onto your existing water station. So, so I guess I've been talking now for like 10 minutes, but go ahead.
But Sean, what I was going to just add to that is how you were talking about how excellent the dark side has done things. And I would have to say that they have excellently starred at hating the human race. And and that's what comes through to me is that complete hatred. So to me, counteracting that with the intention of soul support is, I think, is very important. And you certainly have covered that very well.
Well, and the other thing to think about is, as you stated, Sean, they're intelligent and use technology and all of these things. But what we're using is simple science, and it's from God, and it's that simple. And that is what will combat their nonsense. It's just simplicity and staying centered with our creator. It's really, we are in a very powerful position if we choose to see it that way.
Well, it gets in.
Sorry. Well, we just need to remember that water carries memory and water carries intention. So when we've added that to the water, and we're very strong beings when it comes to utilizing our intention, because that's our gift from our creator. And and we have the choice of being able to create positively. So and that's, now I'll let Sean talk.
Yeah, well, Lynn, the other thing is that that we have to even get a little deeper onto is water is living. It's living conscious water. It's living water. And I keep reverting back to Dan, and I'm going to have to put Dan's channel on here for anybody that watches him. But Dan often talks about the indigenous and the Aborigine people. And he talks that one of the stories yesterday was about an Aborigine person who was sitting in deep meditation. It almost looked like he was sleeping. And when they asked him what he was doing, he was literally making contact with the river 10 miles down and asking the river to change its course. He literally was making contact with the river, asking it to change its course. Native American people, Aborigine people, they understood that everything worked on ley lines and all these different things, which are also plasma energy. And water being a conscious living entity, they could use their plasma energy field and contact the water and literally talk to it. And I just recently did an interview with a Native American woman out of Canada, and she had a story where a guy and his dog, they were out doing a drum ceremony out by the water, and they get a lot of grounding through that. And the river, it basically had grabbed this dog and running it down the current. The dog is about to die, and she literally asked the river to let go of the dog, and the dog literally popped up and swam to the shore and got out. So when we're talking about water, it's a very deep, intricate subject. It's a subject that we really don't know very much about. It's nothing we've been educated on, but Lynn, you brought this up multiple times. We refer to Masaru Emoto, how your mind and your thoughts can change molecular structure of water, but 70% of your body's water or more. It is a very important subject. It's a very important thing to address. If you're looking for health and wellness, it needs to start there. You need to look at your water, and you need to make sure that you're bringing all that energy and as much technology into your life as possible. And that's, once again, one of the reasons that I really do love the plasma energy water and what you're doing over there. So thank you for all that. And the educational process we get from this by learning and understanding it is actually also phenomenal.
Well, Sean, I'm glad you brought up the information about the water, the rivers, the ley lines, because there are people that are using the plasma energy. And I had an email this morning, and she said to me, have you reminded everybody to put peace in the rivers, the streams, on the ley lines, in the ocean, in your well if you have a well, flush it down and get it into that area of water treatment. And that's really important, and especially for the people right now who are dealing with all these derailments that seem to be throwing horrible chemicals either into the water supply or into the ground, ultimately into the water supply. And so actually then we came up with a USAmedbed special.
It's just very
Oh my
interesting
goodness.
we're talking about it this way, and you brought up ley lines, and we were talking about it, and this is what was put together for the USAmedbed special this month.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're humming along on a good frequency here. So here's what we're saying with the USAmedbed special. We hope that people will distribute the peace energy and the other energies that we have here along ley lines, lakes, waterways, Indian mounds, oceans, springs, rivers, and it down the wells if they have wells on their property. It's important now more than ever. So our first one, Sean, we have a couple of them here. We put together peace, detox, and the plasma energy station. And people will end up emailing me, but it'll be the USAmedbed special, and it'll be peace is 27, detox is 77, the energy station is 37. So
337.
337. Yeah, thank you, Steph. 441. So they're going to get a savings of $94, and they'll get those three for $347. And then,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so we put another one together then and said, okay, we'll do detox with super immune with Pine Plus, because a lot of people may already have the plasma energy station. So this is another thing, just in thinking of what's going on with these spills. The detox is 77, the super immune with Pine Plus is 327. 404 is the total, so we give it to you for 327 with a $77 savings. And Steph, do you want to kind of go over what we have in super immune?
Yeah, the super immune with Pine Plus, this is 3 pages of everything that is actually 4, all the energies that are in there.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's magnesium, vitamin C, elderberry, zinc, ginkgo biloba. I always have a hard time saying that. Vitamin B1, thiamine, vitamin C, Siberian pine oil, OSHA root, flower rescue remedy, OSHA root again, stinging nettle leaves, black cumin seed. That promotes healthy level of histamine to bind to its receptors and management of a healthy immune system response to allergens, as well as binding ingredients, including contaminant-free zeolite. Let's see, what else? Vitamin C, A, magnesium, elderberry. I think I said that. Ponderosa pine, blue spruce oil, DMSO, and that comes from trees as a byproduct of paper making process and is a colorless liquid that gained notoriety for its ability to penetrate skin and other biological membranes. Some doctors began to use DMSO to treat cases of skin inflammation and diseases such as scleroderma, because of its ability to penetrate skin. And my father, Dr. Paul, used DMSO a lot in his veterinary practice and had a lot of success with inflammation, wounds, all those types of things, post-surgery, post-surgical trauma, that sort of thing. So there's a whole list of, I mean, it goes on and on and on. And then the detox relief has 150 plasma energy ingredients, homeopathic remedies, vitamin C, E, B6, B12, magnesium oxide, selenium. So just all kinds of things that help with detox. And then I wanted to mention with that first special, the two specials that we just talked about, the pieces in that. And this time of year, when I start sitting outside again, and I want to be one with nature, but I don't want nature landing on me and biting me, I will spray Peace out of a spray bottle, and I have a little vial of mosquito spray that is also one of our plasma energies. So I put them both in there, and I just spray that around my chair and on me, and I don't get bitten. And it does also help with not getting sunburned. So there you go.
Well, and it'll also help in the house if you spray it around. I don't have a fly swatter, Sean. I don't know what happened to it, and I haven't needed it for several years. And once in a while, if a fly comes in, if I ever see it again, it's by a back door in the window pane waiting to be let out.
Yeah.
It would, please let me out of this place.
Yeah, which goes back to what we were saying earlier. Spray it around your doorways, spray the plasma energy, because once it's there, it's going to last forever, basically. It's going to create that energy field. And Steph, we've actually got documented testimonials. There's a couple that I know down in Texas where the woman basically got, because mosquito relief is one of the plasma energy waters, and that's a very inexpensive one. I'm talking like $35, one-time purchase, somewhere in there. But she wore it out and never got bit, And she was living in an area where she was usually getting eaten up. And it was usually in the evening time when they did their walks, and they were even getting a little hesitant to want to even go walking. And I'm a kid that grew up literally right on the Mississippi River in Minnesota, and the mosquitoes there would pick you up and really just carry you away. It was bad.
Yep.
So I know when you're around areas that are wet, marshlands, lakes, mosquitoes can really, you can adjust your lifestyle according to getting around mosquitoes. And the other thing is, nobody wants to put all that ointment and all those sprays. And I mean, it's keeping mosquitoes away, but God only knows what it's doing to your health, because I can't read half the stuff that's on it, and I probably don't even want to know what it is. And it's obviously keeping mosquitoes away. It's probably not, it's not telling me it's like elderberry or something that's natural. But
Right.
But the plasma energy water is something you can spray on your clothing, and it's basically going to get the job done. So as we start getting into the areas now, we're talking about the water, purifying the water, the detox, the soul support. I do want to just touch on again the fact that the plasma energy water is phenomenal for plants, gardens, flowers if you have flowers in the house, but you always, if you've got plasma energy water, you want to be using that on all your plants, on all your gardens, even pouring it down by your trees. The water has so many different uses, but the priority always first off is for yourself and other living creatures around you, including dogs, cats, pets, because obviously, some of my favorite ones are cats and dogs. We're taking care of them too. There's certain plasma energy formulas just for the animals. But when you're thinking of it, you need to think of it in broad terms because, purifying water systems, rivers, lakes, all that. I mean, it's endless. It really is. And in fact, that's probably the beauty of all these calls is that every time we talk, we're addressing new things and new ways. And even for people that might have forgotten, including myself, sometimes like, gosh, there's so many things, but it's good to have that refresher and bring that up and say, you know what? It is spring right now, and it is time to start planting a garden, and it is time to start doing these. So I need to, start thinking about all those things again. So it's amazing all the uses you get with it.
Well, Sean, we didn't happen to mention, but we do have something called Garden Essentials, which is a combination of 3 different vials if you want to.
And I
Yeah.
think we talked about that in last month's video.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that's a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, we're living in a world right now, as we've kind of talked about, that's a little bit crazy. There's certainly environmental things and stuff going on. It's it's just it's so crazy. I just don't even know what to say. I mean, the only thing I can do is laugh about it because it's gotten so far beyond the beyond that I'm certainly not going to get my underwear in a bunch, so to speak, because that's ultimately what the whole process is to try to, all the stuff is meant to keep you in fear, to keep you stressed out, freaking out. Oh my God, this and that. And I just disengaged from it. Once I knew what their MO was and how they work, and their whole thing is to create this script that we're constantly being pushed on us. Certainly there's environmental things in that are real, but a lot of the stuff also when you get into the political spectrum and all it's so many different layers. But the only way you're really going to be controlled is if you get yourself into a fear-based reality. If you get angry, fearful, your frequency is low, you're very easy to be controlled. That's what they're trying to do. When you know what their game is, you know what they're trying to do, you cannot play into it. You can acknowledge it, like I'm clearly acknowledging it, but I just, I mean, we're here for a very short period of time. I'm not going to be stressed out, freaking out, and even as crazy as things are, I mean, it's all temporary, So as a spiritual person, getting back to the soul, that's your conscious living energy. That's going on forever. The body is temporary, but keeping yourself as healthy, dealing with all these environmental issues, all these different things that we're dealing with. It's like your armor, right? It's like we're in this battle, and plasma energy water is like your shield, and it's like your armor. That's one of those important things that's going to protect you from all this, because ultimately you want to live the healthiest life you can while you're here. There's a lot of different things that you can incorporate with healthy eating and all these different things, keeping away GMOs. But once again, the plasma energy water, you've got to get this. You've got to get it in your routine. One-time purchase only. One time, it'll last you forever. Give it to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Stick with us. Watch some of our previous videos. Educate yourself on the importance of water, how powerful it is. And then contact Lynn and Stephanie and get this into your daily lifestyle.
Well, I think of the term of soldier up, everybody, let's buckle up. And with that, I think of a group of people standing there, and here comes Royal with the spray bottle, and he'll help us soldier up.
Yeah,
That's
Royal
right.
is my husband. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like, look, you don't need to understand this. Just stand still so I can hit you with the spray
Yes.
bottle. I'll
Yes.
explain everything to you later.
Yeah.
This is not an opinion-based reality. This is science. So, we'll get to the opinions later, but for right now, just stand still so I can hit you with the spray bottle.
Exactly.
Well, then it goes to Victor Schauberger, who was back in the 1930s and 40s and talking about the very importance of having living water.
Mhm.
And he said what our society is getting ready to do is head a direction where we're all going to be ingesting dead water, and it's going to be the death of our race if we don't stand back and say, how can I utilize living water?
And as you said, Sean, that it literally plasma energy is your armor, and it's very simple, and you have it every day, and it works.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about Schomburger is that he figured out how to infuse plasma energy through whirlpools. Like he had a series of whirlpools, right? And he figured out another way that they could do that. Not as sophisticated as what we've got now with all these additional energies, but that guy was highly advanced, highly intelligent. And there's a reason why none of us know anything really about this guy or about the science of it, because it is very valuable knowledge, and it does really tie into a lot to our health and wellness. And it seems like, the people like my heroes that I always want to know a lot about, which is Tesla and Einstein, Lakhovsky and Schomburger, and even more recently, Mr. Emoto. We're not getting any of that in school. We're not getting any of that. I mean, all these concepts and things that we talk about, it sounds like it's something out of Star Trek, but it's really so basic. And the thing that I really always tie it back to, which is why I really am giving a lot of emphasis now on Native American, Indigenous, and Aboriginal people, they were masters of this stuff. They knew this stuff so well, never given credit for any of it. They were always, kind of pushed off as if they, were just simple people, and they didn't, all these people, when it came to being able to control plasma energy, they could control tornadoes, they could go in and feel the pain, as they would say, of a tornado and steer it, and they could create rain. And these people were so advanced. And so one of the series that I've launched, which is interviewing Native Americans, is really getting into the core of their culture and the core of their understandings and how they did it. Like a medicine wheel, I had the gal Amani talking about the medicine wheel, which is basically creating a plasma energy tornado, which in fact then they could use that. It's this all ties in, but Native American people, if we were sitting down, they'd be like, yeah, of course, duh. It's like, but for Westerners and for us, we never really. It's interesting. Amani did say that Celtic and Druid. There were times where certain parts of Western civilization actually probably had the knowledge, but it either got passed down to a very small few, or when they moved to the States or they wanted to blend with that culture and just kind of put that off to the side. And a lot of it was lost. So, there were others in the past that obviously were also very hip to a lot of this stuff, but we're getting hip to it now, and better late than never. And we're talking plasma energy water, but what we're really doing is we're sharing knowledge. We're educating people on why you need it and why it's important, and really giving people food for thought on ways they can live healthier, happier lives. So, ultimately, that's the beauty of this channel, and that's always the beauty of talking to you two, because we get to delve into some stuff that's kind of fun and just ways that we can work within the environment we're in to live a healthy, happy life.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you, Sean. And one of my favorite videos that you and I did, I call it the Cliff Notes, and it's back several videos, but we went through the products page and discussed a lot of the products. And when people say, well, what is plasma energy? That's one of my go-to videos. Here, start with this. This will give you an idea of what we have. So, and when people ask me, well, what do you think I should use? I have this and this and this and this. And I say, we are not doctors. We are not medical people. We don't prescribe. But what you need to do is go in, look at what we have, and see what resonates with you, and take it from there. Yeah.
That's it. You know what? I love that, because I always tell them the same thing. And number one is use your intuition. Use your intuition, go in there, look at those, listen to that little voice inside that we usually keep in a box that we never want to listen to, or we only listen to it when the TV's not turned on. But But go in there and listen to that. Use your intuition. You actually have it. And when we're going into the soul, we're getting into all these different things in the aura. You're lifting your frequency, you're lifting your vibration. So you're tapping into that intuition. You ultimately can tap into, like with the Native Americans, they'll tap into what they call their ancestral frequencies, where they can tap into their ancestors, and eventually you get into being able to tap into Akashic records. All the knowledge and everything's out there. We all really know it. We are just somehow embodied to a point we don't. But tying this all back into frequency again, energy in the soul. It's all about lifting that frequency, and when you do that, you're increasing intuition and allowing those things to develop and actually become more prominent in your life. So use that. Pick out the ones you want to start, and like we said earlier, it's not whatever you start with is not what you're finishing with. You just need something to start with to get going. So don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Do it. If you're on a budget and you say, I've only got an X amount of money, that's fine. You just get something started now, because you're going to get the benefits of that plasma energy. And then later, you can add to those. Like I said, I've got 6 or 7, but I built those up over, 6 or 8 months. I didn't get all 6 or 7 at the same time. It's like, oh, I'm ready for another one, or a new one came out. So, with that being said, it's about giving you the highest quality value for your health for the least amount of money. And when you go on there's about 60 different options. So just go through, read through them, put your heart on it, figure out what you think is best for you to get started, and just get it into your lifestyle.
Exactly. And Paul and I did one video that said, if your budget is tight, get a couple friends or family members and share the cost, because once you set yours up, they can take from the first one that's set up, and everybody will have the same quality as what I have right here. So you set up your jar of plasma energy water, you take a couple vials of it, give it to your partners, they set theirs up, and everybody has the same quality. There's nothing lost in, well, I had jar number 1, but you have jar number 4. Well, guess what? The energies are the same.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Another great call. So before we wrap it up, Steph, I'll start with you, then Lynn, I'll go with you. But Steph, before we wrap it up, is there anything you'd like to finish with?
Yeah, I just want to say that, given everything that is happening around us, I always try to stay mindful of the fact that that doesn't create my reality. I'm in charge of my frequency and my experience on this planet. And, you can absolutely take control of the narrative in your own heart and mind and soul and live a wonderful life without being sucked into all of the mess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to say today.
I love it. And Lynn, how about you?
Steph said it beautifully. I'll say ditto.
Yeah.
And it's not often that the mother stops and acknowledges that everything was said by the daughter.
That's right. Your little baby girl is doing such a great job, But that's exactly what we've been touching on. It's like, look, we're all aware of what's going on. It's not like we need to put our head in the sand. We're aware of it. We can see what's going on, but you can't play into it. You got to know that, your whole happiness and well-being, you still have 100% control of that, right, Steph? So you can be mindful of what's going on, but you gotta not let yourself get into a position where you're buying into you're not getting yourself into that frequency where you're letting it manipulate you, because honestly, the minute you're in a low frequency, everything's going sideways. Now all of a sudden you're susceptible to being sick, stuff's not going right, not sleep. I mean, it just but hey, it is what it is. It's all about love. We're sharing the love. This is all based on love. You guys put a lot of love into everything that you do. That's the core, that's the greatest, most powerful frequency in the universe. That's the one we're promoting here on this channel. And go out, buy some plasma energy water, share the love, put it in streams, put it in lakes, give it to friends, give it to your pets, give it to your plants, and share the love. So with that being said, do we anything else? I mean, I guess it's so funny. We always do these calls and like, oh, it's been 20 minutes. I look, it's like going on 50 minutes. It's like,
Oops.
I don't know. It's so funny how time flies when we have these calls, but it's great to see you again. Take care. I love you both, and we'll see you again soon.
All right. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Sean.
Sean.
And stick with me here. I'll turn this off and then I'll stay with you here.